The foundation for the half motifs begins with a magic ring, and I am a fan of the double magic ring. So we are going to wrap the yarn around our fingers 3 times, like so. Tuck that tail between your forefinger and your thumb. Then you'll grab your crochet hook and slip it under the first 2. Grab that third and pull it through. Twist it. It should move freely. You're going to zip around to the back and you're going to grab this working yarn right there. Pull that through, and that is your magic ring. That's our foundation. Now we are going to work 8 single crochets into the magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You're going to pull up on that yarn so you don't lose your work, and we're going to partially close this double magic ring. So pull on your tail ever so gently, look over here on this side, find the one that's moving. This top one is moving. We're going to pull from the opposite end very, very, very gently, and we don't want it to close completely. So I'm going to stop about right there. And now I'm going to pull and bring that other side into it. And now we are ready for row 2. To begin row 2, we are going to chain 1. That does not count as a stitch, and we're just going to turn our work. Now we're going to place 11 single crochets into the magic ring, not into these stitches, into the actual magic ring itself. We need 11 of them, so there is 1, 2, oh, I'm getting my tail, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. That is row 2. If you want, you can go ahead right now and grab onto your tail, and you can close this magic ring. It's going to end up, we're going to end up splitting it, so it won't end up being a circle, but you're going to still want to close it. That's the end of row 2. Let's move on to row 3. To begin row 3, we are going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This counts as a double crochet and a chain 3, okay? We're going to turn our work, and this stitch right here is already taken because part of this chain counts as a stitch. So we're going to skip the next stitch, and in this following stitch we're going to place a 3 treble cluster. And you guys already know how to do that, so I am not going to make you go through me explaining it. 3 treble cluster. You've already made many of these so far, and it's the exact same as all of the other ones that you've made. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the next stitch, and in the following stitch, 3 treble cluster. Now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to skip a stitch. In the next stitch, 3 treble cluster. chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip this next stitch, 3 treble cluster in the next, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. We're going to skip one more stitch, and then in that final stitch we are going to place a double crochet. And that last little lone stitch. So this is row 3 so far. I know it doesn't look like a triangle just yet, but I promise you it will. Let's go ahead and move on to row 4. To begin row 4, we are going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That counts as a double crochet and a chain 2. We are going to turn our work, and we're going to place 3 double crochets in this chain space. That first chain space. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now here is a difference from the half motifs and the full motifs. Around this next cluster here, we are going to work a back post treble. So you're going to yarn over twice, insert your hook from behind, wrap around the front, grab that yarn, pull that through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. In the full motifs, they were front posts, but in this, we're working back posts. So now in this next chain space, we're going to place 4 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to work another back post treble. Remember, come from behind the work. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. Now here in this chain 5 space, we are going to work a corner, or one of our points, 3 double crochet in this chain 5. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to place 3 more double crochet in that chain 5 space. 1, 2, 3. Now we need to work a back post treble around this cluster. And then in this chain space, we're going to place 4 double crochets. There is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we need 1 more back post treble going around this very last cluster that we have. And now in this chain space, we need 3 double crochet. There's 1, 2, and then 3. Now we need to chain 2, 1, 2. I lost my place there for a second. And now we are going to double crochet into the third chain. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Double crochet into the third chain, because that was a chain 6 that we started the previous row with. So there we go. So that's going to start flattening out there. That is the end of row 4, and this is what it looks like. You guys ready for row 5? Let's do it. To begin row 5, we are going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That counts as a double crochet and a chain 2. Turn your work, and now we are going to place a puff into the chain space, and remember that's 5 passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there is our puff, chaining to close it. Now we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to skip these 3 stitches right here. And we're going to place a double crochet in the following stitch, which is that back post treble. There goes a double crochet right there. Now we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to skip those 4 stitches and place a double crochet in the top of that back post treble. And now we need to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip these 3 stitches and go straight into this chain 2 here. We're going to place a puff. This is going to be our new corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over, pull through all of them, chain to close it. And now we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and place another puff in that same chains 2 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's your new corner. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Skip those 3 stitches, double crochet in that back post stitch, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to skip all 4 of those stitches, place a double crochet right there. Again in that back post stitch. Now we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip these 3 stitches and place 1 puff in this chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain to close, chain 2, 1, and 2. And now we are going to go into the second chain and place a double crochet right into that chain space. Double crochet. So let me move that tail. This is what row 5 looks like so far. See, it's starting to triangle out. You guys ready for row 6? Let's do it. To begin row 6, we are going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That counts as a double crochet and a chain 2. We're going to place 2 puffs in this chain space right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we need 1 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip this stitch right here, and we're going to double crochet in this chain space. Then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip that stitch, double crochet in this chain space. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip that stitch, double crochet in this chain space, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip this puff, and in this corner space we're going to place 2 puffs, chain 5, 2 puffs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain to close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we need to place 2 more puffs in that same chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. One more puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip this puff, place a double crochet in that chain space. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip that double crochet in the next chain space. Chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip this stitch, double crochet in this stitch. Chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Skip over that puff stitch, and we're going to place 2 puffs in this chain space. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nope. I figured one of them would give me troubles. There we go. One more puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we are going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we are going to double crochet into that third chain, or second, depending on how your tension is going. This is up to you. Sometimes you'll have to go into that third one, sometimes you'll need to go into the second one. It all depends on how your tension is going. If you see it starting to curl down, then you probably want to go into your third. That is what row 6 completed looks like. Okay, now all of the half motifs, they are all worked the exact same way up to row 6. Row 7 is where we join it to our main body of the shawl. So there's 3 different joinings that we're going to be doing. The outside corners are just a little bit different from each other, and then the interior half motifs, they're all done the same way. So I am going to show you how to join the outside western corner, which is going to be all the way over to the left top of our main shawl, and then we will do an interior one so you can see how to join that one in case you need it, and then we are going to do the outside east, which is all the way over to the right and up to the top of our shawl. If we're looking at it, if this was our shawl right here, we're going to join this one first, then I'll show you how to do the interiors, and then we're going to join the last one over there. Okay, so get ready, get your shawl laid out, make sure that you're ready to attach, because here we go. To begin row 7 for the outside western motif, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That counts as a double crochet and a chain 2. We're going to turn our work, and then we're going to place 3 puff stitches in this chain space, okay? 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1. There's 2. We need 1 more. Now we are going to skip this puff, and in between these 2 puffs, we're going to place a puff. Okay, now we are going to chain 2. We're going to skip this stitch and place a double crochet in that chain space. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip a stitch, double crochet in the chain space. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip a stitch, double crochet in the chain space. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip a stitch, double crochet in that chain space. And now we're going to chain 2. I had to look at my notes, so sorry. In between these 2 puffs, we're going to place a puff. Then we're going to skip this next puff, and in this chain 5 we're going to place 3 puffs. And there's 1. Two, and 3. Now at this point you are going to have to grab your shawl because we are going to attach at this point, okay? Okay, so here is my shawl. This is actually the left side. It's upside down, can't get it all into frame. You can see this is the top because we have little areas going here, okay? So just got to make sure that it's turned upside down because this is the side that we are going to be working on. I know it's very hard to visualize, but the point of your shawl needs to be up at the top, okay? So this is the westernmost corner here. Now what we're going to do is just like we did with the main motifs and the full motifs, we're going to chain 1, And then we're going to replace that middle chain of the chain 3 that would normally be here in between the 3 puffs. We're going to replace that middle chain with a slip stitch to the chain 3 of this corner. And it's right there. So we're just going to slip stitch to it, slip, and then chain 1. So that replaces our chain 3. Now we're going to go back to our half motif that we're working on and place 3 puffs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's 2. Now we're going to skip this stitch, place a puff in between these 2 puffs. And this part is very much like it was when we were joining the main motifs, okay, or the full motifs rather. We are just replacing parts of these chains with slip stitches. And our next move would be a chain 2, but because this is close to the puffs, we are going to slip stitch into that first chain space and then chain 1. Double crochet over here in our half motif in that chain space, chain 1. This should be a chain 3. We're going to go right here into that chain space and slip stitch, chain 1 on this half motif, double crochet, chain 1. We're going to go into this next chain space. Oop, if I can grab it. There we go. Well, all right, Steph. I'm all discombobulated. There we go. Slip stitch, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. We're coming back over here and slip stitch, chain 1, and we have one more chain space over here, and that is a double crochet. Now we're going to chain 1 and then slip stitch into this chain 2 space. That last chain space that doesn't have anything connected to it yet, we're going to slip stitch there. Okay, now back onto the half motif. We need to place a puff in between these 2 puffs. And now we're going to skip over that puff, and in this chain space, 3 puffs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1. go. Now we need to chain 2, but remember we're connecting. We are connecting. So right here in this corner, we are going to slip stitch to that corner. That is a north corner. I know it doesn't look like it. I know it looks like a south corner, but remember our shawl is turned upside down for us to do this connecting. So that's a north corner. Chain 1, and then we're going to place a double crochet either in that chain 2 or in the chain 3. It's depending on how your tension is going and how everything is laying out for you. And that is the end of it. So let me fasten this off. Let me find my scissors because now they are buried underneath the shawl. Just going to cut this and pull this out so I can show you what this one looks like. Flip this around because it's looking kind of crazy pants right now. So this is the top of the shawl. I know that there's ends here. I apologize, it can get kind of confusing, but these are our 2 ends that we had. This is where an interior half motif is going to go. This is the very top of the shawl, and this is the very edge of it. And it needs to be blocked out, so it does look kind of wonky right now, but I promise you it will be okay. So what we're doing is we're straightening out this top edge with these half motifs. So your next move with this is going to be working another half motif all the way up to row 6. And when you get to row 6, you can come back and restart the video, and then I will show you how to join them coming in here because it is different. We have 2 sides that we are connecting on, so all of row 7 we are going to be working on connecting it in here. Okay, so go ahead, do that, work yourself all the way up to row 6, and we will meet back here and I'll show you how to do the interior ones. We're back and we're ready to attach our second half motif. It is an interior motif. Remember, my shawl is turned upside down. The point is up there, and we are working on straightening out this top edge. Okay, now as before, where we only attached north and south, east to west, except for on the outsides, here along the top we are going to be attaching to the north corners of all of these top motifs and the north corners of the motifs below. I have already worked up my second half motif all the way up to row 6, and you should too. What we are going to do is we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to turn our work. Okay, now we are going to slip stitch right here. It was our last slip stitch when we were joining the outside, so we're just going to slip stitch to that top corner there. Okay, now we're going to put 3 puffs in our chain space here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 1. We need 2 more. 2. And 3. We're going to place our puff between these 2 puffs. All right, now I'm going to lay this flat so you can see. Let me pull that up just a little bit so you can see how this is working, okay? Our first set of connections is going to be right here, and remember, we're just replacing some of these chains with slip stitches. That's all we're doing. It's really not as scary as you would think. So our first is going to be a slip stitch right there into that chain 2 space, and then chain 1, double crochet on our half motif, chain 1. I'm going to lay that black out flat so you guys can see it. We're going right there with our slip stitch, chain 1, and then double crochet in the next chain space on our half, chain 1, and then we're going into the next without losing my hook, mercy, slip stitch right there, chain 1, and now we are going to double crochet, chain 1. Now we're going into that space, slip stitch without losing your hook, Stephanie, and then chain 1. One last double crochet on this side, and chain 1. Now we have this chain 2 there, so we need to complete our chain 2 by working this slip stitch. And now we're going to go into the puffs. Puff between the 2 puffs, skip over that puff, and we need 3 puffs here. There's 2. All right. Now we are going to chain 1. I'm going to lay this out so you can see where it's going. We have attached all along here, okay? Now we're going to attach to this one, directly below it, but it looks like it's above because everything is turned upside down. And there's our slip stitch, chain 1. Now there's 3 puffs. There's 1. Two. 3. Now we need our puff between the puffs. All right, now what we are going to do, again, I'm going to lay this out so you can see. We've attached over here. This is the straight edge. We've attached over here. Now we need to work on attaching over here. So I am going to turn this just a little bit so it makes it easier for me to see and to work into. So just like everything else, we need a slip stitch right in that first chain space. Oop. Come here, lovey. Here we go. Chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and lay this out so you guys can see it. Now we're moving into the next open chain space there. Slip stitch, chain 1, and then double crochet, chain 1, and slip stitch, chain 1, double crochet over here on our half motif, chain 1 into the next chain space over here on the full, chain 1, last double crochet over here, chain 1, and then slip stitch into that chain 2 space. Now we're back to puffs. 1, 2, 3. Up. Can I save it? Yeah. That's our puff. Nope, I didn't. I missed my first. It's okay. We'll do it again. It's my fault. That's karma because I didn't tell you that we're placing a puff in between the 2 puffs. Now we're going to skip that puff and 3 puffs here. Three puffs all in that last chain space. All right, there's our 3 puffs. Now we have one more corner to connect to, and it's this north corner, okay? We are going to insert our hook and slip stitch right there. Slip stitch to it, and then chain 1. Now we're gonna come down here, and we're gonna count up 1, 2, 3, and double crochet into that 3rd chain space. And now you can fasten off. Let me pull that out. Give me just a second to spin this around and I will show you what it looks like. So this is what it's looking like, guys. This was the first half motif that we joined. This is the second half motif that we joined on the interior. So you see how it works up, going all the way across. You will not be attaching, you know, like down here when we attach these, we did west to east. Right here, going across the top, it's going to attach to the northern. Both of them are going to attach to the northern. So you have a couple more of these to do because we still have some little gaps that we need to fill. And we need to weave in ends, obviously. Please don't judge me. It happens to the best of us. So we're just going to continue to do this. You're going to need to do several more of these. Work yourself all the way until you don't have any more of these holes to fill. And then we will come back and we will attach our very, very last half motif on the opposite side from our first one, right there. See you soon. I am back and I have just finished completing my last half motif that's on the interior. Okay, I know, excuse my ends. Again, do not judge me. I have not woven in my ends yet. It happens to the best of us, okay? This is the straight line going across the top. Remember that the shawl is upside down right now. The point is going to be up there. This is the top part of the shawl right here. It's very, very straight going across. And then over here we have this whoop down there. We need to straighten that out as well. So we have one more half motif that we need to attach. Just like we did with the first one, it's only going to attach on one side of the half motif, but it's the opposite side that we attached before. So this is, if you're looking at it this way, or if the shawl was this way, we're actually up here in this corner, this far eastern corner. I have worked my last half motif up to row 6. If you have not done that yet, then you need to do that so we can attach this. We're going to start by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to turn our work. Now we're going to attach to the north corner of this full motif, right there at that corner, right there. We're just going to slip stitch to it. Like we've done previously, just going to slip stitch to it. Now we are going to work on our puffs. So we need 3 puffs here. There's 1. 2. Oop. 3. Now we need to place a puff in between those 2 puffs. Now we are going to begin to slip stitch. I'm going to turn this just a little bit. As with all of the other ones, our first slip stitch is going to be right there in that chain 2. So we're going to slip stitch, maybe, slip stitch there, and then chain 1. Back over here on the half motif, double crochet in that first chain space, chain 1, then move to the next empty chain space on the full motif. Oop. Without losing your hook, because that's not what we want to do. Come here. Slip stitch, chain 1. Then we are going to double crochet here on the half motif in that next chain space. Chain 1, move up to this next empty chain space on the full motif, slip stitch, chain 1, double crochet in the next chain space. You guys got this by now, right? Surely. Chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, last slip stitch for this portion, and then going into puffs again in between these 2 puffs. Now skip that puff. 3 puffs in this chain 5. There's 1. 2. And there is 3. Chain 1, and our very last slip stitch is going right here in the eastern corner of this full motif, right there. Slip stitch, chain 1. Now you're just going to finish this out. So there's 3 more. And I don't think that I need to narrate you through this, so I am just going to zip through this real quick. There we go. That was the very last half motif. If you've gotten this far, congratulations to you. You've just finished the main body of the shawl. So let me flip this around for you. You can see what it looks like here with all of my ends, of course. You'll just have to imagine them not being there. That's an interior straight going all the way across. That was the first one over here that we attached, and you just watched us do the very last one. So now it's a lovely straight edge going all the way across the top. So what you're going to want to do now is you're going to want to weave in all of these ends so you don't have to mess with it before you do the border. I highly suggest that you weave in all of the ends and then you move on to the next video, which is doing the border for Amy's embrace. And I will meet you when you're ready to begin that.